Good evening, good evening, good evening, and welcome to the fifth. I'm your host, Dr. Sandy DeLise, and tonight, for one night only, we're going to be having Therapy Tuesday. Therapy Tuesday. We're going to be checking in with ourselves. You're going to be able to check in with yourself, see how you're feeling, see how you're doing, because so many times people always check in on somebody else. You're always checking in on other people, how they're doing, what are they going through in their lives, how they're feeling. And sometimes you just forget to check in with yourself. All right, so tonight is Therapy Tuesday. All right, hello, everybody out there. How y'all doing? Just want to say welcome. It's good to see y'all. And let's jump right into this. So, first thing we're going to do tonight is Therapy Tuesday. Let's check on in and let's question yourself. All right. Ask yourself a few questions when you're checking in yourself. Because when you meet someone, you say to them, "Hi, how are you doing? How are you feeling? How was your day? Is there anything new going on with you that you probably want to talk about?" Well, here's the thing, you can also ask those same questions to yourself, right? You can check in with yourself. How am I feeling? You know, am I happy? Am I sad? Is there something that's bothering me? Right? Am I in a good place with myself, with my job, with my relationship, with my finances, with my family, with my friends, whatever it may be? Just check in and do a temperature gauge on yourself, because so many times we just go through life and we forget to stop and see how we're doing. Okay. It's just so many times that until you ask somebody else how they're doing and they say something to you, then you realize, oh, wait a minute. I didn't realize I'm feeling the same way. Or I didn't realize that I was possibly going through something similar, but I couldn't point my finger on it because it's just hard to stop and check in with yourself. People just think that you go through life every day, the hustle and bustle of life. Whether you're in college or whether you're, I don't know, high school, I don't know. I don't know whose screen this is going to come across at any given time. If not today, maybe tomorrow or years down the line, right? And I can help somebody out. So just check in with yourself, see how you're feeling. All right. So question yourself. Okay. Give yourself time to check in with you and see if there's something that you need for yourself. Excuse me. I've been a little bit under the weather. So I'm pushing this through tonight. As if you have been following me, you know that last week I did not post and I didn't come on live because I've been under the weather. But tonight I must come back and do what I need to do. So hence it inspired me tonight to do this podcast on checking with yourself. All right. So now let's look at the next question. Number 2. How am I feeling? Right? On a scale of however you want to gauge it, 1 to 10, 1 to 5, I don't know, 1 to 4, happy, sad, in between, indifferent. How are you really feeling? Take some time and really think about it. How are you really feeling? Not just a surface level answer. Like, don't be afraid to get in touch with yourself. That's one of the biggest things. People are afraid to get connected to themselves. You jump at any given chance that you get to connect to somebody else. Don't be afraid to be connected to yourself. One of the biggest things that I like to say is you got to feel your feelings. right? Because the honesty of it is that if you're not feeling your feelings and you don't really understand how you feel, are you truly able to help somebody else? Right? Yes, you may be able to give them answers that could possibly help them. You may be able to give them answers that may guide them in the right directions. But at the end of the day, if you're not able to really check in and be honest and open with how you really feel about yourself, where you are in the present moment, or even something that you've gone through and you've pushed it under the rug, right? You try to medicate it by ignoring it. Then you find that that problem keeps resurfacing and it keeps coming back, or you keep having these same feelings because you never dealt with it. So how did I really feel about that situation? On a scale of 1 to 10, when I went through the loss of someone, on a scale of 1 to 10, when I went through a failed relationship or a failed marriage, on a scale of 1 to 10, if I felt like I did my best and I didn't pass this test, like, be honest, be real with yourself. All right. The one person that you should never let down, the one person that you should never lie to is yourself. Like, what's your energy level like? You wake up every day, you go to work, but are you going to work and are you giving it your all? First of all, if you go back and ask the question about how you feeling and if you like it, you really should ask yourself, do you really even like the place that you're in? All of these things come into play when you're checking in on yourself and asking yourself, is there something bothering me? Am I in a good place? On a scale of 1 to 10, do I really feel like I'm in a good place? Right? How are you traveling through the different ups and downs of life? Are you okay as you go through the highs of life? How do you feel about the way you came out of some of the lows of your life? Did you tackle it head on? Or even if you couldn't tackle it head on, I'm just saying, sometimes you need some time to assess a situation, right? Sometimes you need time to really process what you've been through. You need time to really process what you've gone through. And then you can kind of jump in and relate to it and be able to tag on it and see, this is what I need to do. Because to be honest, sometimes in the moment, you really don't know what to do. So let's just be real, right? Sometimes when you're going through something that's hard, you really don't know what to do in the moment. All right. So it's important for you to just check in with yourself and say, how am I truly feeling? Okay. Also, when you go through and you're checking yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, is there something that I'm anxious about? Is this situation right here giving me anxiety that I don't really recognize or notice that I'm going through? Do you find yourself doing something different, something out of the norm because of what you're going through? People always talk about, like, people have been traumatized by things. Like, for instance, if some people have been in a situation where they've been in a car accident, right? And they drive through a certain spot on the street or go down a certain road, sometimes you might feel the hairs on your back of your neck raise up, right? Or sometimes you just feel like you get a little jittery because that certain place brings back emotions for something that you've been through, right? It could even be with the loss of a person and you're trying to support a friend and you go to the funeral of that person. It does something for you, because you're a good human being, right? And you feel what other people are feeling, So while you're there, being there for somebody else, check in with yourself. To be there for somebody else, you have to be able to be there for yourself as well. All right. So you question yourself. How am I feeling? Is there something bothering me? Do I like the place that I'm in? And then you check back and you say, on a scale of 1 to 10, how am I really feeling? What's my energy level like? Right? Am I feeling overwhelmed about something? Is there something that's making me anxious? Okay. And now you've questioned yourself. Now you checked on a scale of 1 to 10 and you realize, like, I've gone through these emotions. All right. I've been there for this person. What they've gone through, I've also experienced it. And maybe I am anxious about still being there for someone if they've lost someone, or being there for someone after they've gone through a difficult time in their life, or being there with someone after they've lost a friend of some sort. You know, no matter what it is, like, friendships are like relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like, the same way relationships don't work, friendships don't work out in the same way. And it makes you feel a certain kind of way. So you need to really be able to check yourself to realize, like, is there something that I've done? Is there a reason that this person is acting a certain way towards me? Or is there something that this person is going through? And why are they acting a certain way towards me? Sometimes, or pretty much all the time, you can't answer other people's questions. If somebody's going through something for themselves, or somebody's treating you in a certain kind of way and they don't want to talk to you about it, then there's nothing you can do about it. You know, you just have to let life take its course. You know, you have to always remember that you're just staying true to yourself and just be the best person that you can actually be, because at the end of the day, friendships come, friendships go, relationships come, relationships go. Thank God for the ones that last. Thank God for those that leave and then they circle back around. But at the end of the day, you have to always be able to check on yourself, okay? And then once you've been through questioning yourself and you've gone through how are you feeling on a scale of 1 to 10, speak positive vibes to yourself. Speak positive to yourself. Okay? Have positive self talk. All right? I'm not saying you're crazy. I'm not saying look in the mirror and talk to yourself and answer yourself back, because that's when people say you're being crazy. You can talk to yourself, but if you answer back, then you got a whole other problem. All right? But speak positively about yourself. Speak positively to yourself. You know, that way, is it nice for people to give us compliments? Of course. Is it nice for people to say nice things about us? Of course. But one of the most important things is for you to be able to speak life into yourself. That is what speaking positive vibes is about yourself. All right. If you just join in on the 5th, we are checking in. Tonight we're talking about how are you? How are you feeling? All right, what's up, Tori? I see that you're here. All right, how you feeling? How are you? We are always checking on other people, but we need to self-check ourselves. All right, because nobody can live this life for you but you. Okay, so now when you're here speaking positive vibes to yourself, right? You like the way you look. Love yourself. You know what I'm saying? I love my eyes. I love the shape of my nose. I love the way my hair sits on my head. I love the way that I look, especially when I wear these hoop earrings. You know what I'm saying? Um I'm not being what's the word? I'm not being full of myself. I'm straight up just loving on myself. Because if I'm not loving on myself, I can't expect for somebody else to love on me. That's right. I am wonderful. You know what I'm saying? I'm powerful. You know, I have so much to give to myself. I have so much to give to others. Tori, you killing me, man. Don't make me laugh. I just said I was sick. I'm trying to come on and pour into the people, and you got me laughing. Tori, we know those wigs can keep you hot. But listen, it's them fly fancy wigs out there, so I'm not even gonna hate. At the end of the day, rock your wig and do you, sis, because I know you're beautiful in whatever wig you try to wear. That's a fact. Speak positive to yourself. So especially if you're having a down day, you know, feel your feelings, be honest with yourself about how you feel. And I always say this: feel what you feel, recognize what you feel, acknowledge it, but don't sit in it. All right? Don't sit around and just have a pity party for yourself, because that's very easy to do, right? Here's the crazy thing. They always say misery loves company. Here's something crazy. You can be miserable by yourself and be your own miserable company. For sure. Because you start blocking people out. You start pushing people away because you just want to be miserable. I'm not saying this is an easy thing to do. I'm saying you have to be intentional about speaking positive vibes to yourself. I love the skin that I'm in. You know what I'm saying? I like my teeth, but now that I have braces, I'm loving the way that I look in these braces. Like, real talk, if I could keep braces in forever, I would. Minus the few nicks and knacks that it does to my gum, I love the braces. I just love myself. I've been sick a couple of days, and I even go and I look in the mirror, and yes, I look like, man, you look like trash right now. But it's not always going to be this way. I'm still getting well, but the way I see myself today is not the way that I saw myself 3 days ago when this cold or this cough, whatever it was, hit me. Because I spoke positively to myself. I spoke life into myself, and I'm still willing myself to wellness because I'm still under the weather, right? So I'm just saying, speak positive to yourself, all right? Today is Therapy Thursday. We're rapping, all right? All we're doing is rapping. Check in with yourself tonight. How are you feeling? What's your energy level like, right? Am I anxious about something? All right, so we've covered all of those. Then we're looking at, you checking with yourself. You want to speak freely to yourself, right? Don't gaslight yourself. You don't want other people gaslighting you. So for sure, don't gaslight yourself. Like, be honest, okay? There's nobody else that can be as honest with you but yourself. When people are honest with you, for sure, your feelings get hurt. It's a horrible place to be, right? But let me tell you this: if you're honest with yourself about the way that you actually feel when you're in a certain situation, by the time somebody gets to you, you might not like what they say, but guess what? I already told myself that. So you kind of late to the party, homeboy, or you kind of late to the party, homegirl. I already told myself this. So I'm gaining clarity. I know who I am. I know where I'm going. I know what's going on with me right now, but this is not where I'm always going to be. I'm speaking life into me. I'm gaining clarity. What I'm doing right now is checking in with myself, judgment free. Judgment free. Because if I'm going to say something to myself, right, that's going to hurt my own feelings, then it just tells me that I need to check myself. I need to be doing something differently. If you say something to yourself that hurts your feelings, now that's something real. I ain't never heard nobody said, you know what? I said this to myself, or I said that to myself, and I was in a rut. Nah. To be honest, if you say something to yourself and be real about how you really feel, it's probably going to pick your spirits up because you're going to laugh at yourself. And that's real talk. Like, if you look and you're like, you look like trash today, and you just laugh at yourself because you just like, man, you're doing bad, man. You're doing bad. What's really going on with you? Is this really where you want to be? Is this how you want to stay? I know you don't feel good, but pick yourself up. You know what I'm saying? Brush your hair. Wash your face. Take a nice hot shower. At least for that moment, you can feel good about what you're doing. After that, drink your medicine, drink your soup, get back in bed, and that's the best self-care you can have if you don't feel good. All right, it's Therapy Tuesday, and I'm trying to tell you, I'm trying to keep it real, and I'm trying to tell you, talk to yourself, check in with yourself on a scale of 1 to 10. How do I feel? And once you figure it out, you get some clarity, you have anxiety about what you feel, you're overwhelmed about it. Speak with some clarity to yourself, no judgment. Speak those positive vibes to yourself, man. You're going to make it. Trust me, when I say you are going to make it, no matter what you're going through. As long as you give yourself the opportunity to put one foot in front of the other every day, okay? As long as you give yourself the best chance possible to wake up each day and make a difference listen to what I'm about to tell you, and make a difference in your life, right? Because it's Therapy Tuesday. I'm talking about you. How you feeling? How you doing? Yes, you're going to make a difference in somebody else's life. Hands down, because you're good people. You wonderful people. You want good in the world. But I'm talking about you tonight, right? I want you to check in with you. I want you to lift your spirits up. Okay? I want you to feel good about where you're at, what you're doing. And if you're not there, how am I going to get myself there? All right? Okay? So speak positively to yourself. You owe that to yourself. Okay? So when I wake up each day and I put my best foot forward, how am I going to make a difference in my life? What is it that I need to do differently? Okay? If I did something yesterday and I felt like it didn't really serve any purpose, what can I do differently today? And even though what I did yesterday didn't serve any purpose, how do I grow from that? How do I grow on that one thing? It's like watching ants. Like I can see an ant somewhere carrying a piece of bread that's way bigger than he is. Okay. And the thing about it is, this little itty bitty ant has a purpose. I don't know what his purpose is. That bread that he's carrying on his back could be dinner for his family. That bread that he's carrying on his back could be his source of food for, I don't know, a couple of days, maybe. There's no telling when I see this ant carrying this piece of bread on his back, what his purpose is. I don't know. So it's the same way that I'm telling you, you have a purpose. Wake up every day, put your best foot forward, and do something positive for yourself. Okay? Nobody has to give you a purpose. Your purpose lies within yourself. Nobody has to tell you what you should be doing. Don't get it wrong. Don't get it twisted. People may give you suggestions because, believe it or not, there are things that people see in us that we don't see in ourselves. All right? So don't get it twisted and think I'm just saying you are the only person that knows what your purpose is. You will know your purpose because you're going to feel it. But sometimes there's some things that you don't know lie within you and people point it out to you. You know what I'm saying? So I see you. Jonathan on here talking about, he says, good morning, handsome. And that's how we greet yourself in the morning. That's what I'm talking about, which is also the best way to start. See yourself in the morning, greet yourself, whatever. Jonathan says, hello, handsome. I could say, hello, beautiful. You can look at yourself in the mirror each day and say, today is the day that I'm going to make a difference in my life. And if I can make a difference in my life, I bet your bottom dollar, I'm going to be able to make a difference in somebody else's life, but catch it when the time is right. Don't just jump out there all willy-nilly thinking, I got to go save the world. You know? I hear you, Paul. That's what's up. Prepare yourself to be able to help others. All right? That's what Paul. Prepare yourself to be able to help others. And the way you prepare yourself to be able to help others is you have to be able to help yourself first. Okay? That's where that positive self-talk is coming in, that I say, talk to yourself, be good to yourself. All right? So what am I going to do today? Okay? So now that we've gone there, let's just do a little recap right quick. Question yourself was the first thing that I talk about. How am I feeling? Is there something bothering me? The place that I'm in right now, am I in a good place? Do I like the seat that I'm sitting in? Right? And let me just tell you something about the seat that you sit in. Love the seat that you sit in. Real talk. You understand? Because here's something that I listen to a lot of sermons. You know what I'm saying? And one of my favorite pastors always says that, you know, depending on the seat that you sit in determines what you're going to see. Now, I could sit in this chair that I'm sitting in right now, and I could have a perspective of what I think these windows in front of me looks like. And I could get out of this chair and somebody else could come and sit in the same exact seat and see something different. Okay? That's because we all don't look through the same lens, which is why we need to question ourselves. All right? Because the way that I want to see myself is not the way that somebody else might see me. All right? We could sit in the same seats, but you may not see the same things. So question yourself. Do you like what you see? All right? And then the next thing we spoke about was on a scale of 1 to 10. It could be 1 to 8. I'm just saying 1 to 10 because that's just the normalcy of what people say, 1 to 10. Okay, your scale could say happy, sad, indifferent, or I don't know. It's you. I can't tell you how to judge your scale. All right? I'm trying to tell you today is Therapy Tuesday and we're wrapping. I want you to check in with you. This is what tonight is about. Check in with yourself, love on yourself. All right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, what's your energy level like? All right? Are you feeling overwhelmed about something? All right? Are you anxious about something? And then we were here on positive vibes, speaking positive to yourself. Speak freely, gain clarity, check in with yourself with no judgment. Tell yourself exactly how you feel. Okay? And after you get through all of those steps, this is where we're going to land this plane right here. Practice breathing and being in the moment. Excuse me right quick a second, y'all. Like I said, I've been under the weather if you're just joining us, but I've been gone last week and I was like, I got to get back. I got to get back to the people. All right. So I appreciate everybody that's on here tonight. I just ask for y'all grace. You know, and I thank you for joining me on it, but give me a little bit of grace. I apologize for coughing in your ear, coughing in your face, but I'm going to sip on my water and just keep pushing through. All right. So practice breathing. All right. One of the things that I love to do with my students in my class is this coping skill that we've learned called mental imagery. Right? And you just close your eyes and you envision yourself in a place that you feel free, a place that brings you happiness, a place that you can see yourself thriving and surviving. All right? Mental imagery. And a lot of times, students don't always close their eyes, but when I do it, I turn the lights off in the classroom and I just play like some nice ocean sounds or some spa music. And I just set a timer for about 10 minutes. And we all just sit there and we just let our minds take us off into somewhere before we start the day. Sometimes I even do it in the middle of the day if it seems like it's been a rough day and we need to just pause for a minute, right? So I'm not telling you to do anything that I don't practice for myself. And I'm not telling you to do anything that I don't practice with my students. All right. We practice mental imagery in our class. We practice drifting off into somewhere in the beginning of the day, in the middle of the day, at the end of the day, somewhere that just makes you feel free. And to take it even further, after you've gone through this space of mental imagery, you can also journal about it. Or if you like to draw, you can draw. Okay. All of this is just a part of you checking in with yourself, and making sure that you got a pulse check on you. All right. In that moment, in that space, when you're just breathing deeply, whether your eyes are closed or whether your eyes are open or whether you're meditating, whatever feelings arise, whatever you feel coming up within yourself, here's something important that I want to say to you. Acknowledge it, but don't try to figure out what to do next. Okay? Follow me and listen to what I'm telling you. When you get into this place of breathing deeply and just being in the moment, whatever feelings arise, whatever you are feeling in that moment, acknowledge it, but do not try to figure it out. All right? Because once you try to figure it out, you're losing your train of thought and you're really losing focus. And you're also losing the importance of what you are feeling in this moment. I'm not saying that you cannot go back and revisit it. What I'm really talking about right now is being present in the moment. And that's important. Okay? Because it's a vulnerable place to be. It's a very vulnerable place to be. A lot of times when people get to that feeling and they start to feel all warm and fuzzy on the inside, they take off. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. I don't like what this feels like. I don't want to talk about this. I don't want you to even see that I'm feeling unsettled in any kind of way. And I run away from it. All right? But running away from your feelings, I want you to picture this. Picture yourself running away from your feelings. All right? Yeah, that's right, Paul. You got to process that thing. Like for real, you got to process it. All right? Process what's going on. Okay? But I also want you to think about this. Picture yourself running away from a problem or running away from a feeling that you feel. And you're running as fast as you can. But if you just stop, whether or not you look behind you, that problem is tagging along behind you like a parachute or a kite. Follow what I'm about to say to you. While you are running from this feeling or this problem, it is tagging along behind you like a parachute or a kite. Keep in mind that I did not say that it is flying behind you like a parachute or a kite. It is tagging along behind you like a parachute or a kite. It cannot fly, baby, because you're not facing it. You're running away from it. And no matter how many times you run away from a problem, no matter how many times you run away from a feeling, it's going to resurface as long as you're doing this thing called life. As long as you're doing this thing called life, feelings that you don't want to deal with, it will come back. You have to process it. You have to trust the process. You cannot be afraid of what's going to make you better. You cannot be afraid of tackling head on that thing that has you sinking, that thing that has you feeling like you're drowning. It's Therapy Tuesday, checking in with yourself. How are you feeling Are you ready to face these feelings that you're pulling behind you? All right. If you ever see someone carrying something and it's heavy because we're not facing it. All right. As you start to face those feelings, you're going to be able to see that kite and that parachute elevating. It's going to elevate because what's going to happen is that as you deal with those feelings, you're going to find that something inside yourself is going to start feeling better. Is it going to feel better immediately? More than likely it won't, because you've been running from it. And sometimes you run from things that hurt. Sometimes you run from things that make you feel vulnerable. Sometimes you run from things that truly make you check yourself. And sometimes it's things that you more than likely got to change. So you run from it. But I'm challenging you as you sit here, listen to me tonight on Therapy Tuesday. All right? That I challenge you to face those feelings, acknowledge it. And if in this moment, don't try to figure it out. Revisit it. Because as long as you acknowledge it, you're going to go back to it. As long as you acknowledge it, you're going to go back to it. And acknowledging it is the first thing that you need to do for you to be able to deal with those feelings, deal with the anxiety, deal with the unsettling feelings that's going on inside of you so that you can be your best self in order for you to be your best self for somebody else. All right? Okay? So I'm going to recap one more time, and I'm going to close this Therapy Tuesday out tonight because I'm really pushing it, right? And while I'm talking about being good to myself, I have to be good to myself and make sure that I'm taking care of my body and be good to myself, because I have students that depend on me and look at me every day, and I am devoted to giving them my best self. So I need water, I need rest, and I'm going to get some medicine. All right, so we won't be too long. Question yourself. All right, how you feeling? Is something bothering you? Are you anxious? Are you in a good place? On a scale of 1 to 10, how am I feeling? What's my energy level like? Do I really know what I'm anxious about? Let's tackle that head on. All right, speak positive vibes to yourself. You look good. You're amazing. You were meant to make a difference in this world. Good morning, handsome. Good morning, beautiful. I love your hair. I love your smile. You should wear those earrings today. You look good. You look good in that tie. I love it. Speak freely. Gain some clarity about yourself. No judgment. All right? Practice breathing. Be present in the moment. Don't run from it. Be present in the moment. Take some deep breaths. Imagine yourself in a place that makes you feel free, that makes you feel like you're striving, that makes you feel like you're thriving, that puts you in the best position for you to be your best self so that you can be your best self to others. All right? And then last but not least, I'm going to leave you with this. All right? While you're here and you've joined me tonight on checking in with yourself, let me go back. Yeah, thank you, Tori. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate y'all being here with me and sticking it through with me. So I'm here. You can tell I'm trying to talk, but I'm gasping, trying to make sure I get these point across because I'm speaking with so much force. But I got this because I'm getting ready to wrap it up. So here's what I want you to do as I leave you tonight and you go through the rest of your evening. I want you to check in with yourself and I want you to gauge your thoughts. All right. I want you to be open. I want you to be honest. I want you to be vulnerable with yourself. I want you to acknowledge what you feel. All right. Put yourself in a position for you to respond to your feelings and not react to your feelings. All right. If you can practice this with yourself, it's also a good practice that you're going to have with somebody else. Okay. Gauge your thoughts. Practice responding to your feelings and not reacting to your feelings. All right. Stay connected to yourself for what you need. Stay connected to yourself for what's important to you. Stay connected to yourself for what you need to thrive each and every day, whether you're doing this in the midst of trials or whether you're doing this in the midst of happiness. All right? Check in with yourself, be good to yourself, and most importantly, love yourself. All right? I thank y'all for hanging out with your girl tonight. This is Dr. Delise, and thank you for joining me on the 5th. And remember, your future is forward, my future is forward, our whole future is forward. God bless y'all. Have a good night.